My government name is Jasmine Lundy, but I changed my name to Fruit. So that's my name.
Baby, you realize you was only written in my story for a chapter, reloaded for my revolution, one call away to pull the plug on this fictitious world with glitches and lags in it. All firewalls are up, and before I ever give out my password to download another program, I'm gonna scan it.
My name is Jaha Zainabu. Do you know what it is to be grown and black and artist? To be young and brave and brilliant. It is to be resilient. It is to be witch. Do you know which witch you are? Do you see these fingers cast spells? Sister Tony, Sister Alice.
What's my name? My name is Dina Reed. Or do you want my stage name? My stage name is Duniverse. Daddy's little girl got it misconstrued. Somebody should have told her that sexy was an attitude and not a teenage girl in hookah boots. Nobody ever showed her how to be classy, so she shakes it fast. See, no one ever told her to watch yourself and really meant it. Somebody should have told her to shake that habit like it's hot instead of her ass, and that doing pole tricks for cheap tips can only burn your soul out quick, and her mother's biggest fear is that she'll crash.
I moved here from Atlanta. I was raised in New Orleans, Baton Rouge, Bogalusa, which is the South, basically, in Atlanta. I was there probably till I was like 8, and then I moved to Atlanta for a minute, and I was there until I moved out here to Los Angeles.
I'm from Long Beach, California, and I grew up in Long Beach, California.
Where am I from? Well, technically, I'm from here, Los Angeles, but I was born in Cincinnati, Ohio, but I don't say I'm from there because I don't know anything about it. So I'm from LA, I guess, sort of. And where did I grow up? I grew up in Los Angeles, which is why I feel like I'm from Los Angeles.
From a typical family, my mom worked as a data systems analysis at the courthouse in Torrance, and my dad was a construction worker who sometimes sent me to the store for hog-head cheese and zigzags, but that's a different story.
Childhood was, since I'm the middle child, you know, I couldn't do what my older brother got to do, and I couldn't get away with the stuff my little sister got away with. So I was always the one who was probably taking care of the house, making sure everybody was straight. If I did anything wrong, I was probably the one getting in trouble for it because I was, quote unquote, should have known better.
Only child of a single parent household. I did gain a brother when I was in high school, but in my opinion, I was still an only child. I was my mother's only child. My father wasn't really around. He was in Ohio, and I saw him during the summers every now and then.
I have a sister 4 years younger. I grew up around the corner from both sets of my grandparents. They lived across the street from each other, so I had my grandparents like galore. From an easy family. My father is deceased now, and my mother is living. My parents divorced when I was in middle school, and my father died in 2009.
My childhood was pretty basic. I went to school. I was a pretty good kid. I think my mom would probably beg to differ, but hey, you know.
I wouldn't say it was an easy childhood. Most of the time I was by myself. I was a loner. I guess that's how I got into the arts.
My childhood shaped me in that I grew up in a community where there were a lot of children, and we, for the most part, we all went to the same school.
I am definitely very independent. As an only child, you learn to fend for yourself. That can be a blessing and a curse, because then you are accustomed to not relying on people. So then when someone comes into your life that it's okay to rely on, you're not really sure about it. I was unsure, and often still get unsure. So you have to learn to let people in because you're self-sufficient.
How did my childhood and my community shape me? Because I was a loner and I kind of felt alone when I was a child, it shaped me to be way more independent, not to depend on anybody, to go out and get what I needed by myself, not to I was not asking anyone for help because at the end of the day, if they let you down, then they let you down. But if you focus on getting it yourself, then you won't have to worry about anybody letting you down.
For the most part, we all went to the same school. So we hung out together, we went to school together. After school, we were together. We did homework together. We played together. We got almost the same kind of things for Christmas. So we rode bikes together. We were together. And in that neighborhood on my block, my mom lived in the house that my grandparents lived in. And so my mom lived in that neighborhood growing up. And the next door neighbor, she lived in that neighborhood growing up. And the next door neighbor, her mom lived in that neighborhood. So we all kind of really, really knew each other and looked out for each other.
What's my stage name? My stage name is the Universe. It means my universe, Dina verse, and I wrestled with it for a while. I chose Dinaverse because by the time I realized I didn't have a stage name, I already had a name. And so I felt like if I just changed my name, I'd be starting over because I liked the reputation my name had. So I wanted to keep Dina because that's who I am and that's who I was. I felt like I wanted a stage name because sort of like everybody had one and I didn't have one. But yeah, that's kind of why I chose to get a stage name, and I thought they were cool, and I've always thought my name was really corny.
My stage name is Queen Fruit. What does it mean and how did I choose it? Well, I have to go back to the fruit part. I started off on Vine as Forbidden Fruit. I was getting kind of known on Vine, and then they was having all these Vine events and telling people to come out. So when I used to come out, they didn't call me Forbidden Fruit, they called me Fruit. So because I was getting called Fruit so much for like 2 years, it just kind of grown on me as Fruit. And the Forbidden Fruit goes back to, biblical and how women and men, and I was just still learning myself, so I chose Forbidden Fruit. And then over time, as I evolved from Forbidden Fruit, I became just Fruit, and then I went to Miss Fruit, and then I turned to Queen Fruit as I evolved from adolescent to a woman.
I wasn't born Jaha Zainabu, so I guess Jaha Zainabu would be my stage name, even though I use it I didn't create it for the stage, I created it for my life. So I was born Robin Reed, and I go by Jaha Zainabu. Jaha means dignity and Zainabu means inner beauty or peace. And I was at Grambling and I was ready to be something else. Like I wanted my name to mean something. And I saw a book and that name resonated with me and I liked it. And so I picked it. I picked Jaha anyway. And then a few years later, I picked Zainabu because I just wanted that inner beauty. I wanted that peace that was always with me, and I liked the names together, and I became Jaha Zainabu, and that's what everybody called me.